new home for podcasts and original music.
The Zagnif One Radio Network.
Nick Saban does not play anybody less than his. He doesn't put anybody less on the field than his very best player.
Bama does what Bama do. Sorry, I heard a noise. My bad. Somebody just left it on myself.
That Colorado defense is definitely underrated, but they ended up pulling it out late. They have one of the players to watch for, Isaiah Spiller.
Oh, it's better. It's better now. Trust me. Like back in the day, there was at least one murder. So I mean, it's better now.
You realize that you're not doing anything to press your case by getting me to go down there. No, man, come on down there. It was only one murder. Yeah, they're only averaging one murder a year.
And shout out to Florida. They're playing them this Saturday. Number 11 ranked Florida playing number 1 Alabama. So I think that's going to be a high scoring game. And
wow. Well played, Collin. Well played. I did not see that one coming. you get a double finger point, one for me and one for Sean. You know you get.
Here we go. Get your popcorn ready.
Well, what's the big thing?
Hey, folks, what's going on? It's your guy, Mr. Fingaz, coming to you from Zagnif Central. Hope you all had a great week. I know most of y'all hated going back to work on Monday. I know I did, and it's sad because I work from home this week. But we're here, and we are here with this week's edition of This Week in SEC Football. I am Mr. Fingaz. That guy right there, over there to my right, your left, is, or maybe it's my left and your right, what the hell ever, is the homie, the ace, that guy, Collin P, the brother from another. What's going on, my guy?
Not much, my man. How you been?
I've been doing pretty good, man. I've been trying to, like I said, I've just been trying to keep things, keep it on the level because it's been rough getting through this week after having only worked 3 days last week, then had to put in a full week.
Hey, man, lucky you. I had to work both Thanksgiving and Friday and Saturday, so I had to work all 3 of them days. You probably were off. So.
Yeah, I know it sucks sometimes, but you know we
make that Christmas money, man. You know, you got a kid, you gotta make do, right?
But I mean, you got a kid. Mine aren't kids, but I got 4 of them, and they all going to at least want some money. And I got a wife.
Yeah,
and I can't not get something from my Dukes and Pops. So
that's right.
You know how that go.
Yes, sir.
You know how that goes. So, man, what a week it has been, bro. I mean, it is Thursday. The news broke on Sunday. How does it feel? I have to imagine that the folks in Norman, Oklahoma and all over the Sooner State are getting a little nervous right now because Lincoln Riley was the first one the first domino. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was the first domino. And he already was at his new job come Monday afternoon. I mean, they had the press conference and everything. And then the next domino was Brian Kelly. Actually, let me back up. First domino, I had to back up a few weeks. The first domino was Ed Orgeron, as far as the major college programs in a Power 5, Group of 5. Ed Orgeron cut loose.
Right.
Well, and then Dan Mullen fired. And then Lincoln Riley leaves. And then Brian Kelly leaves.
Right.
Now, in that time span, the LSU spot has been filled by Brian Kelly. The Virginia Tech coach got fired. He was replaced. And Savannah State lost their head coach, Sean Quinn.
Brian Kelly got replaced.
Yeah, Brian Kelly already got replaced, and Dan Mullen already got replaced. Right. Meanwhile, Oklahoma's still going, but I want somebody to play with me too. I mean, I know it just happened, and it takes some time, but it just seems that all these other jobs are getting filled up. and the availability of quality head coaches outside of dipping into the pool of retirees that might potentially want to come back is starting to get smaller. I mean,
it is.
I heard there was a rumor that Matt Rule, that they were looking at Matt Rule, Panthers head coach. So,
Oh wow.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean that kind of goes along with what I was saying last. I don't know, it was last time we talked about. I think it was Monday, but yeah, the amount of coaches available, the higher caliber coaches that are available, are becoming smaller and smaller. So yeah, you're definitely right when you look at Oklahoma and being like, I want somebody,
Yeah, and Oklahoma is definitely out of all of those schools. Oklahoma is definitely that program
right?
that you can't just hire anybody. After they've had decades upon decades of success at Oklahoma, and you can't just go hire a Derek Mason. Although shouts out to Derek Mason, doing very well as a defensive coordinator at Auburn. Just because of him, that Auburn was able to keep Alabama on their heels as long as they did, and it really just took. I think it just really took his defense getting worn out, is what it boiled down to.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because those boys played lights out ball. If that Auburn defense has shown up when we played them, it might be a different story. We might be a one-loss team. Not that we couldn't have scored anyway, but those boys were balling.
Yeah.
So they, that's where you have that. So that leads me into the first question here. Do you think that OU and Texas bit off more than they could chew?
As far as going for the SEC, or just kind of like I absolutely, there's no doubt in my mind they did. I mean, I don't think they understood what they were. I mean, like we previously spoke about, I mean, that TV money and that extra money might be great, but I mean, you got to look at how long it's going to take you to kind of fit in to the caliber of the SEC program. You don't have. We've said several times. When you have. Maybe we can leave Vanderbilt out of the conversation a little bit, but I mean, you got Kentucky's on the rise, Ole Miss, Miss State. I mean, you look at all these teams that have, in the past have not been that great. They're getting better, and it is SEC any given Saturday. That we've always said, you never know what's going to happen. So,
and as long as they keep those coaches, they're going to continue to get better. I mean, Kentucky definitely took a step towards solidifying their rebuilding by signing Mark Stoops to an extension, and he got a nice fat extension, so he's definitely coming back. So I mean, in the East, you've got Kentucky. Florida's going to be rebuilding. We already know that, but even still, they still made bowl eligibility. But you got Kentucky, you got Tennessee. On the East, on the West side, you've got Mississippi State that definitely did better than we thought they would. You've got Ole Miss, who came out of nowhere. I know Matt Corral is a phenomenal quarterback, but nobody expected that they would be one loss away from winning the West.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
And then you got Lane Kiffin. I mean, he's bringing those boys right up to where they need to be. They're just a little bit away from it, I think. To be honest with you.
You got Shane Beamer has South Carolina believing. That is the most competitive South Carolina squad I have seen since Spurrier left. Even though Spurrier wasn't that great, he still managed it. He gave us the blues every year because
he always did. It's just
he gave us the blues at Florida, and then he went to South Carolina, and he continued to give us the blues.
Oh yeah,
but he's got that squad believing. So they are on the decline and making their way into a conference that is on the upswing.
Well, let me kick it back to you. So I mean, we talked about OU. My answer was geared more or less toward OU, but Texas. I mean, what do you think about Texas? You think Texas is thinking they bit off more than they can chew? Like, I mean, that could have been a kind of a wake-up call when they got beat by Arkansas. So I mean, that could have been their first wake-up call. But at the same point, what are your thoughts on that, on Texas?
I will give it to you about both of them. I think they both bit off more than they could chew because the announcement was made back in July. So we're talking 5 months ago now, the announcement was made, and it caught the entire Big 12 off guard because nobody knew. I don't know how something that big they managed to keep that secret for that long.
Right.
But it caught the
It did
entire
seem like it kind of jumped out of nowhere to me. So,
yeah. I mean,
you know?
I was on my way to work that morning when the news broke on the radio that they were making a jump to the SEC, and I was like, holy crap. And then by the time I was on my way home, the callers were calling in and calling OU and Texas traders and blah, blah, blah. But this was in July, and no football had been played yet. But at that point, you're talking about Texas, a team who supposedly was on the rise. You're talking about, they had gotten rid of Tom Herman. They brought in Sarkisian, and an Oklahoma team who was just dominating that entire, Oklahoma was doing to the Big 12 for the last 10 years what Clemson has, for the most part, done, except for this year in the ACC.
Absolutely right. Yeah, I could.
And then on top of that, I know they didn't foresee. They didn't foresee Texas being as bad as they were, and they definitely didn't foresee Lincoln Riley leaving. I didn't even know he had just been signed to an extension. They had just signed him to an extension.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think they both, now in retrospect, they both have bitten off a hell of a lot more. I know this much. I know the Big 12 commissioner's having a good laugh about it. Because the first thing he did, he went out and he got 4 more teams to come and join the conference to try and rebuild the Big 12. And see you later, guys. Whenever you leave, just leave your key card on the desk on your way out. Right. And now the 2 teams that are leaving, who were supposed to be the dominant teams, are just, OU not in the Big 12 championship this year, not in CFP contention. Texas, Texas didn't even make a bowl game this year. So crazy. I definitely think they bit off more than they can chew, and I know that they're going to have a long ride once they get up in the SEC.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting. That's for sure. But I would like to see both their schedules. I kind of like to see what they were who they would play the first year or so, and just see if they're potentially they could not win a game. To be quite honest with you,
Oh, Texas for sure. I'm interested to see how they're going to line everything up, because you bring in 2 teams that are obviously going to be in the West, and then somebody's got to come over to the East. So
yeah,
or they're going to divvy it up in pods. But either way, God help them they wind up in the same pod with Alabama and Ole Miss.
Yeah, no kidding. But I was saying, it's like, what would they go? Who would be in the East and who would be in the? Geographically, I guess, would you say like Texas would be in the West and Oklahoma would be in the East?
Don't know. That's a good question.
Or have they said that? I don't think they said that yet.
Well, Alabama is the easternmost team out of all of those already existing teams. So if they would do that, so realistically speaking, if that would have happened, if they just did it geographically and said we're going to keep East West, then Alabama would shuffle over this way.
Yeah.
So no telling. We shall see. We shall see what comes of that. Man. So let's go ahead and just get to the elephant in the room. Again, if you're just joining us or if you came in a little late after the introduction, thank you so much for joining us for This Week in SEC Football, which, ladies and gentlemen, is sponsored by our marvelous show sponsor, DJG Enterprises, DJG Enterprises, and GreekGans.com, providing you with your custom gear. You don't have to limit it to Greek apparel. You don't have to limit it to Greek gear. You can get these laser engraved cups that you see up there at the top. You can also get the Afghans that you see in the bottom right-hand corner. They can make those custom to any school you want. Bear in mind, can't do logos because the logos are copywritten. But if you want some sort of Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Ole Miss, Mississippi State type stuff, they can make that happen for you. So go over there and visit www.greekgans.com today. Oh, man. So conferences, the conference championships are set. We already talked about this on Monday, but we all know where the big dog is. No
Yeah.
pun intended.
No pun
It's,
intended.
it's the Georgia versus Bama game because this game is the one that has the most influence on how the rest of the CFP lines up. Assuming that Cincinnati and Michigan State both win their conference championships, then it's all up to who wins between Georgia and Bama. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you jump in first. How do you see this thing going? Like, let's just talk about first of all what the keys to the game, because we've talked endlessly all season. You guys know what Georgia can do. You know what Bama can do. So what do you think are the keys to the game for us this week?
I mean, I kind of touched on this a little bit on Monday, but I mean that I feel very, very passionate on us, like playing full 4 quarters of football. Not giving it up, because every time that make it even
Wait a
simpler.
minute. Hold on a second.
Play to win, not to lose.
Hold on a second. How do you get out Bama does what Bama do without a stutter and can't say 4 full football quarters?
Just can't say it. It's just
I can't do it. I can't do it. Is that plum and red? I can't do it.
But 4 full, I was trying to say 4 full quarters of smash mouth football. And I like I said, I would want them to play to win, not play not to lose. And it seems like we've had, and that's what, and outside looking in, granted, I don't know what's going on the field. I don't know what's in the players' mind. I don't know what's going on with the coaches. I have no idea. But outside looking in, watching the game, it just looked like we were being too conservative in the second half. And that's what I'm saying, going, prevent on the defensive side of the ball, going prevent when Russian was actually doing well. We were getting to the backfield. We were getting to the quarterback. Don't give up and don't stop doing what's working. That'd be the keys of the game for us.
True, but in the case of some of these games that we played, the game has been well in hand, and it's obvious that whoever we were playing wasn't coming back. So, so at that point it was, let's play not to let. At this point we're winning. Let's play not to lose from here on out, and also let's play to not get anybody hurt. Because one of the things is,
but as well as I do, you can't do that against Alabama.
Oh no, you can't. Absolutely not. You can't. I mean, you literally would have to be up by 4 touchdowns with 30 seconds left in the game to be able to do that.
I'd still be nervous. But
hey, look, I was watching the Iron Bowl the other night, and I said these boys are gonna mess around and let. Man, there it went. Right there it was, right there, and it was just enough. All they needed to do was tie the game, and it was just enough to just get a toenail inside the door.
It reminds me of rounders hanging around. They got alligator blood, they just keep hanging around. So yeah.
There are a few things that I looked at. There were some things that I listened to a lot of different things. There were some things that I looked at, and some of the keys to the game for me is that we got to keep Bryce Young on his heels.
True.
We've seen it. We saw it in the Auburn game. We saw it in the LSU game. We definitely saw it in the Texas A&M game. If you can get through their front 5 and shake him up, it throws him off. His completion percentage. Here's the funny part about it, though. His yardage doesn't suffer, but here's where it does suffer. His completion percentage, and I just used the 2 games that had the closest margin of victory, that being the Iron Bowl last week and LSU. Those 2 games were won by a combined total of, say it with me, ladies and gentlemen, 9 whole points between both those games.
Wow.
He was 49 of 88. That was his completion percentage.
That's right. That's dead on 50%, isn't it?
Yeah, almost. Now, the kicker is he still threw for 619 yards in both those games, but he also only threw for 3 touchdowns. Now, what saved him in those games was the running game, and we'll get to that in a minute. Now, if I looked at their 2 largest victories against New Mexico State, who I think are still taking a long way home, and Mississippi State, he was 41 of 51 for 618. He's 618, so he's consistent with his yardage, but he also has more leeway to make his reads. He threw for 9 touchdowns. So if you can keep him on his heels and keep him running and disrupt his progressions, he's still able to scramble. He's still one of the best scrambling quarterbacks in the league. But he actually he doesn't run. He scrambles and tries to make a play downfield. That's big difference between him and Matt Corral. Matt Corral will just take off running. And he's effective at it because he's fast. He's a big guy, he's fast. But if you can disrupt his reads, you throw him off. And that's the key. One of the keys to winning is to keep your opponent from scoring.
Right.
I mean, that's been the key for us all year. Even with Clemson, that game, I think that was our closest game all season. Was it 9-3?
Yeah. I mean,
9-3, but they kept Clemson out of the end zone. So that was the difference maker.
Yeah. And then to what you're saying, exactly. We've got to get to the backfield and, always, have the quarterback make those bad decisions, but we have to be careful because like you said, he's a different quarterback than, he can take off running, but then he still has his eyes down the field. So he can still pick up, then that brings into question, if you want to say into question, our secondary. So our secondary has got to be mindful of just because you see him running doesn't mean he's going to, tuck it and run, unless he gets across the line, the line of scrimmage. So you need to be mindful of him, firing that ball to where, basically making a play, like you said.
Now, one thing that actually surprised me, our pass defense ranked second in the nation. Wow. 8.85 yards per completion, for 151.9 yards per game. So I mean, now let's be fair. That front seven is nasty, and they're in the backfield. Like they've got the closing speed. You see how many times this season against how many opponents have you seen a quarterback try a screen pass in the flat, and by the time the ball gets there, Nakobe Dean is flattening, pancaking the dude.
Right.
You get what I'm getting at? So
absolutely.
That
I was going to say, how many attempts does it have? An attempts? I mean, I don't think it has that kind of category on how many attempts they were targeted or whoever or whatever. But that would bring.
I know there's a stat out there for it somewhere. If you are watching this right now and you are a statistics geek and you are willing to spend a couple of days because the game's on Saturday, crunching some stats for us for free because we work on the budget. Crunching some stats for us. Hey, we'd love to have you crunch some stats.
Well, the only reason I was bringing that up is like, you mentioned that stat, that number of 109 yards. But I mean, how many times were they throwing the ball? You know what I'm saying? Our defense is in the backfield so often, you know what I mean? How many? I would like to see the percentage, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And like I said, our secondary has been fortunate to not have been ridiculously tested this season.
Right.
But that could be a blessing or a curse. But then too, you never can tell. Those guys might be hungry out there. I mean, I've seen the secondary actually make some spark plays. Keely Ringo had that pass interference call. I want to say it was against Georgia Tech. He just took a pass interference call. He knew he was beaten on the play, but he also knew that in college football, it's only a 15-yard penalty.
That's right. It's not a ball. That's spot foul.
And the play was from inside. I'm just go ahead and say it was Tech. It was from inside Tech territory. No, was it Tech that we played? Who did we play in the last game?
Yeah. It was Tech.
You sure, or was it Charleston? So because it was on TV. You're right.
So
that play was inside Tech territory. So they only moved another 15 yards, and then the front seven shut them down. But he made the smart play. So. We know that these guys are, I mean, we can't have LeCount and Bakari Rambo every season. There you go. For those of y'all that want to talk about name one player from after 1980 and before 2017. There you go.
Right.
Bakari Rambo used to be flying around the field. I wish he had gotten more of a career in the league. I don't think he's still in the league, but still glad he got a chance to play. I think that I definitely think that the secondary is going to have to step up. That's the other thing, is the secondary is going to have to step up because Bryce Young, once his arm gets going, it's almost like you can't shut it off. I mean, how the hell did he manage to throw for 300 some odd yards and they only scored one touchdown in regulation?
I was looking at that.
He still threw for 300 yards. Mechie had 150 yards receiving.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And maybe I need to clarify. I'm not down in our secondary by any stretch. And I think you hit the nail on the head where maybe they're hungry. You know what I mean? Maybe they're not getting the respect, if you want to call it respect, that they think they deserve, and they want people to throw at. They want Bryce Young to throw at them. You know what I mean? And I feel sure they'll be flying around the field, throwing their bodies everywhere. I think they'll. I mean, especially this is a game they're going to do it if they haven't done it all year, which I've seen them play hungry already. They're not slouching. I mean, they're playing. So yeah, I just want to clarify that. I'm not saying our secondary, by any means,
absolutely not. You think those DBs haven't been mad to see all them linebackers and D linemen wearing the Savage pads all season, and they haven't had a chance to get to wear it not once?
Right, absolutely, and I hope they do. I hope they get their chance.
Yeah,
I mean, you have that 4 or 5 picks and turnovers out, at the end game. So I mean, that bunch of fumbles and whatever. I mean, I'm excited for the game. I mean,
and to be fair, Kirby is definitely more of a defensive-minded guy because that's what he did when he was head coach. When he was not head coach, when he was a coaching assistant under some guy that sells insurance that happened to be a head coach in some city in Alabama.
Blue jacket.
Yeah, he wears that blue jacket. He's on the guy that Deion Sanders let be on the TV commercial with him. I heard I heard his wife allows him to have oatmeal pie on Sunday if they win on Saturday. So that's actually a true story. I think he's made reference to that. Like, Miss Terry, she lets me have my little Debbie's on Sunday.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So that is one key. Another key that I think, and the reason that is important, that we need to keep Bryce on the run. If they get to the point, if the defense gets to the point where the passing game is ineffective for Alabama, Brian Robinson right now is day to day. He pulled it did turn out he didn't tear anything, but he did get a good tug on his left hamstring last Saturday in the Iron Bowl. So he's questionable, and he definitely is the workhorse of the rushing offense. Right. So if he can't go, if they can shut that down and he can't go, now we do know that Bama's all about next man up. We've already heard the stories, which I'm sure will become legend, about Nick Saban walking the sidelines going, I need one of you guys to step up. And who the hell knows? I mean, Brian Robinson waited 3 years to get a chance to step up, and boy, howdy has he. So it's important to keep Bryce Young on his heels, because if you shut the passing game down and the run game is not ridiculously efficient, there you go. What else we got? We talked about the defense and containing the long passes. I mean, he's got Williams on one side and he's got Mechie on the other. Between the two of them, they have combined for 2,300 yards receiving this year and 20 touchdowns. And that's a dangerous combo.
Absolutely. So, I mean, maybe we discussed this already, but who's the backup of Bryce Young?
I don't even know at this point.
I was going to say, I don't know if we haven't talked about that. I'm not saying it, I was just trying to figure that out, because I mean, and I was just going to bring up that in years past they've had a luxury of quarterback, our normal conversation with quarterback switching, the tandem there. They don't have that this year, and this is one of the first years in a long time they didn't have that. In my memory, you know what I mean. But what would happen if, say, Bryce Young actually got hurt, or anyhow, we actually, Big 99 got on him and laid on him for a minute. What would happen?
We're gonna talk about him in a minute too. To be completely honest, man, after the last national championship game, I wouldn't be celebrating if Bryce Young got hurt, because who knows who he has in the back that we got no film on.
He probably got a place kicker saying, "Oh yeah, we're just gonna put you as a place kicker, and we're gonna pull you in when nobody expected." So,
right?
Pull you in, we're gonna.
It would not shock me at all. It would not shock me at all if old Nick has got him a Taysom Hill and hiding somewhere.
Oh yeah,
that's one of the reasons why Taysom Hill was so effective when he first started playing, was because nobody had any tape or film on him, and so he'd show up and he'd play quarterback and he'd play wide out and he'd play place kicker and he'd play punter and he'd whatever, So. There's no telling. I wouldn't put it past Nick to pull out all the stops, because this year, them getting in, even losing to the number one team in the country, is not a guarantee. The only way that it's a guarantee, that I would say it's over 65%, is if it's a close game. But if we blow them out, they're not getting in. So he's probably going to pull all the stops.
Yeah.
And Kirby has to be prepared for that.
I'm sure he is.
Jameson Williams will be back too. From because he committed that they got him on a targeting foul in the first half, so he had to sit out. I think it's 2 halves you have to sit out or something like that, unless they changed it. I think they may have changed it, but he'll be back. So
one half.
Yeah, no, I don't know. He was out for the whole game last week.
Well, they definitely satisfied the rule. So.
Yeah. Run dominance. We have to establish a run dominance. Bama actually has the number 4 rush defense in the country. Rush defense. Georgia has the number 3 rush defense in the country, but they have the number 4 rush defense in the country. But I know you don't want to say they who have they really played, but nobody's really had a dominant run performance. They haven't faced anybody that was dominant all season, except for the most dominant runner that they faced was Tyrion Davis Bruce from LSU. He dropped a $104 on them in Death Valley. But Tank Bigsby, he didn't do anything. I thought Tyler Beatty had gotten them, but they didn't play Missouri this year, so they haven't really faced a 3-headed monster. Cook, Mitchell, and White are all averaging 5 yards a carry, all 3 of them. So and Mitchell, and that's what Mitchell haven't been out since like week 5 or 6.
Right.
That's about it. And the other thing is, this is the time when even the most steadfast Stetson Bennett fan is going to go, don't throw any pickles. You can't afford to throw any picks.
Yeah, and I think he knows that more than anything in the world. I think him as a quarterback, I think he knows that. Because, I mean, they did have I think, did I send you that interview he did, or that presser he did? What have you learned, this, that, and the other? I think I might.
Oh, yeah.
What are your takeaways from, and the first thing he said was, I want those 2 that who were we playing? When did JT come back? I can't remember. Who were we playing when JT came back?
I don't remember.
Well, I can't. But anyway, it was the 2 picks that he should not have thrown. Like, I mean, the Hail Mary, the big long home run ball it wasn't even a shot of anybody catching it. He said those are 2 passes that I want back. I should have never thrown those. And that comes with growth. And I think he's actually got there. To be quite honest with you.
Yeah, and then he's still prone to get you one though. He's
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just I would rather him give me one on like the their 1 yard line than our 1 yard line.
I'd rather not give up a scoring opportunity, even if it is on their 1 yard line, because this is Bryce Young. Remember, this is what we have been saying since 2017, 2018. We need to play Bama. For the first time in ever, we actually want Bama. Not that we're scared of Bama, but Bama has held the high hand for a long time. So
that's the thing. We won't be. We'll be talked about, and we will be the GOAT. Until we beat them. Not the good GOAT, the other GOAT.
Right.
Until we beat them.
Now, Bama's pass defense is ranked number 42 in the country, but they have managed to scrape up 13 picks this year. So now the plus side of that is they're only allowing 213 a game in pass yards, and Stetson doesn't have flashy numbers. I think his highest he's averaging about 250. So
that's right.
if he can get his numbers with minimal mistakes, and our defense can keep their offense off the field and force a lot of 3 and outs, and our offense can make some stuff happen, I sincerely see some. I see this going our way, and a lot of pundits are. What's the line on the game right now?
I mean, it was 6.5 last time we talked, but I will check it out right now.
Yeah, it was 6.5 on Monday. I'm sure it's moved a little bit since then.
Oh, I don't think it has, dude. I think it stayed there.
Okay.
I still got it. I got it at 6.5. Georgia 49.5 over under. I mean, that's on ESPN. I mean,
49.5. Wow. That means that it's not going to be a ridiculously high scoring affair, they think. I mean,
I don't think so.
Yeah. A lot of pundits are saying that Georgia's going to obliterate Alabama.
I don't
And
like
then you have a few folks saying that it's going to be a lot closer than people are saying are saying that it is.
Yeah.
I still think Georgia will win.
Yeah.
I think it will be I think it'll be a hard fought contest.
Yeah,
I think
it
it'll be a
just
hard fought
depends.
contest with a lot of respect shown on both sides of the fence once the game is over.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean that's the biggest thing. I mean they both respect each other, and you heard what Saban said in his press conference. You know, he said even about Stetson. You know, but I mean you can take this with a grain of salt. I mean it is what it is. And, he is Saban. It could be legitimate, it could be real, but it could be just kind of feeding that dragon type of thing. But I mean I don't know. It's just. I'm with you though. I mean, I think, and it goes back to that that ESPN quote. You know what I'm saying? I really don't know. I mean, like it could be a field goal affair, but it could be a beatdown. Like if we get, it just depends on what happens. Like I mean, there's a lot of turnovers. If it's really a really tight game, it'll be a low score one. But if there's turnovers, if we're able to do what we need to do, what we're planning on doing, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, it could be.
Oh yeah.
And Kirby's not going to let our foot off a break. I mean, like he's gonna, if we start scoring, we're going to score until we can't score no more. And I can't blame him.
I mean, yeah, I just hope he's kept the boys' heads level because we've been
play to win and not play not to lose. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Yeah, we've been there before. It was just a few years ago when we were about 8-9 games into the season, and Georgia wound up ranked number 1. And the first thing we did was lose the next Saturday to Auburn, and that one hurt.
Yes,
it wound up not hurting our chances of getting in the championship game, but that one hurt. Yeah. So I think the thing is, as long as these guys can keep their heads level and everybody can focus on the goals and all of that stuff, I think they'll go out there and they go out there and they give their 180% best effort. I foresee Georgia not only winning the conference championship, but winning the national championship.
And let's throw that out there too. Let's just be like, please, easy on the injuries. Like you just said before, if we're getting out there where the game's in hand, let's don't do too much of foot on the gas. Let's kind of be a little bit conservative till we get to that national championship. Then we go all out. This game is important, but it's not the most important. It's important. Don't get me wrong, but we want to have the people available, the players available to win that natty, to get
right. You don't want to wind up, having to play short some of your best players.
Exactly.
Speaking of best players, I saw a video clip with Nick Dean. He was in high school. This is when I think he was getting ready to come in, and that was the one. I forgot who his boy was. It was with him, Knees, something, whatever his name is. You know who I'm talking about, right? You know the clip I'm talking about. And he's like, he was like, the thing me and him was talking about was we want to crush Bama. We just want to crush them. And mind you, he hadn't even set foot on campus yet. I think it was their senior year, and they were getting ready to graduate and going up to Athens. And he said, "We want to beat Bama. That's what we want."
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's what everybody shoots for. I mean, to be the best, you got to beat the best. It's got to.
Yeah, I know we tease Bama fans. I know we tease you guys a lot, and all of the stuff that we say about Bama fans and Alabama, but you know what? It is true. Alabama has become the gold standard to which everybody else in the SEC aspires because, I mean, Nick has taken that program back to – he's taken it back. They got the hardware. He's taken it back to the prominence and respect that it had when some guy named Paul used to be the coach there. The dude with the hat and the jackets, that guy. No disrespect to the late Bear Bryant. But, I mean, and everybody, that's the team to beat, period. Every year, that's the team to beat. We started out this program. Sean and I started out this program. The very first show, the question was, who can beat Bama? Little did we know it was going to be Texas A&M at that point. But
But it's funny, though, because, the people that you don't expect, it comes out that the teams that you don't think are going to beat them end up beating them. At some point of a year, you got A&M, you got Auburn. That what do you call it? Your famous name for that game where they kick the field goal and
the kick six.
The kick six, yeah, there you go. But that one, I mean, there's always when they do get beaten. It's not like they can't get beat, or they can't be beaten. It's just when they do, it's kind of just a crazy scenario. You know what I mean? It's not. I mean, well, I wouldn't call A&M a crazy scenario. I mean, they pretty much had them out of the gate. I mean, like they had their number out the gate. But
yeah, and we have said that all season long too. Is any given Saturday, if that team that you're looking at going, are we going to mop the floor with them? If you let them come out and
dangerous.
punch you, let them come out of the gate and punch you in the mouth a couple times really, really hard,
Mm-hmm.
you might not be able to recover because you don't know what kind of power they're packing in that punch.
Right.
It's like all those videos you see on World Star where some nerdy looking dude is getting picked on by the thugs. Like, yo, what you gonna do, son? What you gonna do, son? And then he squares up and the nerd just cold cocks. Pow! And everybody's like,
The best
oh!
one is the little skinny dude that was picking on that big guy you did at school. Did you see that one? Where he just picks him up and just body drops him on the bench, the concrete.
Oh,
bench.
right. Yeah, that was the one from a couple years ago.
And he gets up limping.
Yeah, he had his head and his forehead and his face and everything. What you gonna do, man? What you gonna do? Run and cry to mommy? Oh my God, who gave you that backpack? Where did you get that from? And that kid just went, RKO out of nowhere.
Exactly. He weighed about 70 pounds. He picked him up like one arm.
I was watching that at home, like I was like, remember Eddie Murphy and Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood?
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. I had no answer for that. I was like, oh, I was so shocked. And I know my wife is not a fan of all these fight videos. So I was like, baby, you gotta see this. You gotta see this. And she was like, all she had to say was, oh my.
Yeah, that was me. I was like, oh, that looked like it hurt. I thought he broke his leg. He had to have broke his leg. I mean, the way he threw him down. Holy smokes. Yeah. But I mean, that is absolutely the point, though. I mean, it's just that is. And like you said, we give, Bama fans or whatever, we both have, mutual Bama friends and that kind of stuff. And our Bama fan friends that, that's the nature of the beast. I mean, if you're the best team in college football, how many years? I mean, they've had how many national championships? They got 4, I think.
6.
They
got 6. They got 6 under Nick.
No, under Nick, I know, but I mean 4 at Bama, though, right?
4 at Bama?
No. How many does Alabama has 6 national championships in the last 10 years?
Nick Saban has won 6 national championships at Alabama.
Okay, so
that's in addition to the ones that Bear Bryant won, and then who was the other guy that won the other one? Gene Stallings.
Yeah, but Saban also won at LSU, right? Did he have one before that too?
Yeah, he had one before at LSU. So, but just at Bama alone, he's won 6 at Bama. And then Stallings won 1, and I can't remember how many Bear Bryant has won. So they have a trophy full of hardware, a trophy case full of hardware.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, they're like New England, the New England of college football. I mean, like, they've got all
the irony is, especially with Nick and Bill Belichick being buds. I got a partner of mine that hit me up late last night. I was knocked out when I woke up this morning and went to turn my alarm off. You know how you get the Facebook Messenger alert with the little thing in the side? And I clicked it and it said, number 2, son. I was like, okay. I'm like, all right. Like, yo, shout outs to my guy Chris, man. Appreciate you, bro. Hey, Chris, keep climbing the stairs, bro. You'll get there. But yeah, yeah, I was like, yo, for real, like, son. Did my homie just go all full gangster on me? Like, number 2, son. What set you repping, son? It's like, okay. All right, it's like, yo, the game's like still 2 days away. Let's calm down a little bit. I feel some kind of way about the way I'm being treated right now with all this.
Yeah, but did you really? No, go ahead. Did you really think that Alabama would be? Well, Alabama's 2, right? In the city. Yeah. Okay. Did you really think there would be any other than 2? Do you think they're going to be 4? Anything any in your head? Did you actually think there would be anything?
Really? Well, yes, because I'm still that 1% that likes to believe that the folks at the CFP will do the right thing. But practically, from the practical part of my brain was like, Bama's going to be number 2. Watch.
Yeah.
There's no way. There's no way with Cincinnati being undefeated. Yes, they don't have the same resume as Alabama. You got 2 undefeated teams in FBS. And that's Georgia and Cincinnati. And that is not an easy feat to do, even if you're playing at FCS level, even if you're Division II. I don't care if you're playing Pee Wee ball. It is hard to go undefeated.
Yeah, I mean, we're the only two. I mean, us and Cincinnati are the only two undefeated, right?
They're undefeated, and every time the CFP try to find a reason to knock them out of the or not rank them, they just go in. Oh, see, well, I wasn't really impressed with what they did. Oh, but they won again. Oh, well, they did a little better, but they weren't playing. They won again. Oh,
Yep.
well, we got to. And then it got to a point, and they would just. I can imagine the committee going, we gotta rank them, or they're gonna riot. Like we gotta bump them up, or they're gonna riot.
Yeah.
Because at that point, you got Ohio State with a loss, you got Oklahoma with a loss, you got Oklahoma State with a loss, you got Michigan losing, you got Michigan State losing. Who else? Clemson was in the toilet. Like, I think the CFP just really struggled this year with the fact that Bama had a loss to Texas A&M and has struggled in some games. Clemson's out of the running. Who's the other team that's always sitting up in there in the middle of the Kool-Aid? There's Bama, Clemson, Ohio State, and who else?
Well, I mean,
I forget. But anyway, that's my point. I think the committee really struggled, and I think that the committee is secretly hoping. I would not be surprised if they are secretly hoping. Please let Cincinnati lose this week so we can be done with this whole mess. I want Cincinnati to win just cause.
absolutely.
I personally want them to win just cause, so that the CFP would have to sit there next Sunday and go, well, we can't not. They were hoping.
I want them to move up to 3. That way, Michigan or Alabama had to play them, and then we would play. We would play. Who's the other one? Michigan would play them, or no, Alabama would play Cincinnati. We'd play Michigan. That's how.
Well, you know how mad they had to be pissed off that Ohio State lost.
Oh yeah.
Because Ohio State lost and Oklahoma lost, because Oklahoma was probably going to leapfrog some people if they at least won Bedlam.
Yeah. Well, as well as I think, Ohio State and Alabama are ESPN's like golden children. I mean, like they fall all over both of those teams. I mean, like it amazes me, and they have absolutely no love for us at all. Doesn't seem that way anyway.
Nah, they got love. They got respect. How about that? They have respect for the program.
Maybe this year.
I don't think they have that love for them though. No, they respect the program because they always give them accolades when they do well. But it's not like Kirk Herbstreit. It's not like when Kirk gets on there talking about Ohio State. Like, you could just tell when Ohio State is doing well, how he's all swelling up. Last Saturday, he was sitting there on College game day, just all swelling up and everything. And I was like, I wonder what he's thinking about this game. Matter of fact, it was so funny when they were talking about was it Desmond Howard when he did the Heisman pose?
Right.
The Heisman pose game when he ran their kickoff back. Yeah. And Kirk Herbstreit was like, "This was me on the sidelines." and then they cut to a still shot, and he literally was standing on the sidelines watching Desmond Howard run down the field.
Hey, that's good stuff.
I do though. I sincerely think that Georgia has a good chance of winning this game. I mean, there's a lot.
I'm just saying, let's take it one step at a time, though. Let's get this SEC, and then we'll worry about the other.
Yeah. Now we mentioned the defense, and that brings me to something else, bruh. How about Big Baby in the showing that he's having in the Heisman fan vote?
That's amazing, and I did see that before you actually brought it to my attention. But that's. And I had no idea though. I didn't really know until you told me about the fan votes actually take it into account.
I didn't know it either. I was because I had to research it at first because I was like, oh my God, we get to vote. And then I looked at the website and it was like, well, give your cast for who you think would win the Heisman. And I still don't know for certain. I don't know if that has a tie-in or not. But if it happens to be tied in, because Nissan is the sponsor for the biggest sponsor now for the Heisman Trophy presentation. Mm-hmm. If it happens to be tied in, could you imagine enough fans, just for frame of reference, you guys, Jordan Davis, I like to call him Big Baby. I know there's Perkins up in Boston, but he retired, so he can let the name go. Big Baby Davis was one of, I think, 12 players in D1 that were listed on the Nissan Heisman candidates list, and the fans can vote. And I think he started out at like 6 or 7. and the fans are starting to come out in droves. You can vote once per day per device. So that means you can vote from your laptop, your mama's laptop, your sister's laptop, your
Yeah.
phone, your phone. If your homie got a phone and a burner phone, you can vote from everybody's device. One vote per day per device. So I make sure that I vote from this computer and my cell phone, and I text the wife and go, "Did you remember to vote today?" Just like she texts me for work and goes, "Hey, sign your time sheet." I'm like, "Did you vote today?" So
There you go.
yeah. So depending on how many devices you get to vote as many times as you want. And he's gone from like number 6 or number 7 to number 2. He's past Matt Corral. He's past Matt Corral, and he's chasing the kid from Pittsburgh is who he's chasing right now. Which to me, I don't understand how is he so high in the fan vote right now? Or does Pitt just have that large a fan base that they're voting for him?
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's part of it. But I mean, look at it like Big Baby, as you call him. I mean, dude, what a story that would be. Just for, I mean, he's the greatest. I mean, like honestly, it's just the way he personally is. Why would you not want to follow a guy like that? You know what I mean? He's passionate on the field. Don't hear anything about him off the field other than stellar, nice stuff like you normally like a normal person.
Yeah.
But how would you not want to vote for somebody like that? I mean, he came from nothing. He's a great story.
Yeah, it's definitely a feel-good story. I mean, to see stuff like him directing the Red, they made him an honorary member of the Red Coat Band.
That was absolutely great. That was awesome.
I don't know another player that they have made the honorary member of the Red, and let him direct the band even.
Now that you mentioned, I don't think there ever was. I don't remember any in my time. I don't think there was.
Yeah, I mean, and you're talking about a whole rack of greats that came through there, man. You're talking Herschel, you talking Champ, you talking Hines, Matt Stafford, Aaron Murray, all of these fan favorites that when they in their time at Jake Fromm, Swift, Chubb, Michelle.
By the way, we got to get a shout out to Fromm, though, right? We got to get a shout out to Fromm.
Yes, shout outs to our guy. Shout outs to our guy Jake Fromm getting that spot on the active roster for the New York Giants.
Hey, he didn't get off that Buffalo practice squad. He's on the active roster now in New York, so that's good.
Hey, as our boy Sean likes to say, the race is not given to the swift, nor the battle to the strong.
That's right.
But to he that endureth. So shout out to Jake from State Farm, now an active member of an NFL squad. And the hell of the way things are going, he might see some playing time by the end of the year.
I think he will, Bill.
Do you think that maybe that was a calculated move because Danny Dimes is giving away too many dimes?
Very well could be. Very well could be.
It's like that guy at the carnival is like, too many people winning at your station. It's like, yeah, I know, but I like them though. Yeah, you're not supposed to give away all the toys. Speaking of all the toys,
see me showing off. I told you earlier about see me showing off the other side.
Oh yeah, your Stafford jersey. I like that. I'm jealous of that joint right there you got on though. The glory.
I didn't know that. Like I said, I was going through my closet. That's why I love doing this show. I get to bring out my new, swag every time we do it, and I find some new stuff in my closet that I haven't worn in a while.
That has given me an idea.
Speaking of swag, I saw you holding something there.
Yeah, no, that shirt has given me an idea for a shirt though. I feel a Munson popping into our. I don't know if Larry's copywritten or not, but I feel a Munson coming on. But we might see it. We might see a quote from the Battle Hymn on a shirt at some point. But these are the shirts that we were trying to tell you guys about. This is the shirt from this week in SEC football. As you can see there's Collin, there's me. With our schedule on it, the wife got the first one fresh out of the box, and it has the Zagnif Apparel logo on the back there, the signature logo. So if you want one of these right here, step on over to Zagnif-apparel.myspreadshop.com/all. I don't have the actual link for the shirt is about another 52 characters long. So just go to the one where you can click all. And you can find it. Just type in this week in SEC football, boom, and it'll pop up. And it'll give you all the options. They come in long sleeve, short sleeve. Ladies, if you got a little bit more to love, and your boy loves that there's something extra. My wife is a lovely lady. They got shirts for curvy women. They got hoodie dresses. They got They've got crop tops, fellas. We got long sleeves. We got raglans. We got muscle tees. We got sweatshirts, and we got hoodies, and we got zippered hoodies, and we got hoodies with pockets and hoodies without pouches, and all of that stuff. Go over there, check it out. Grab yourself some gear today. That right there. That's our little throw in right there. Matter of fact, that segment was brought to us by our segment sponsor, Envision Social Media. Go check them out today. My homegirl, Janika Teller. Anthony sent you. EnvisionSocialMedia.com coming up with solutions to help you empower you to maximize your social media platform today. So go holler at them right now. I'm gonna get at my boy Rick in a minute and see what's going on with the shirt that he's designing for me. Speaking of Rick, he's the other segment sponsor. We haven't given him any love today. We cannot do that because he sponsors this part of this show too. 1906tees.com. Go over there today. Yes, they do Greek paraphernalia, but he can also do custom SEC gear for you as well. He is also an SEC alum. Collin, I'll give you 3 guesses where my boy Rick graduated from. I won't say where, but it might be a school me and you both like. So, yeah, UGA graduate, got his own shop there. I said I wasn't gonna say where, and then I said it anyway. But
no, you didn't give it a chance.
Oh, you was hey, you was busy. This right here, that's more important than taking guesses. Pop that top handle business. You know what I'm saying? Oh man. So that's what we got there, ladies and gentlemen. Georgia versus Bama. I know we spent the entire show breaking down the SEC championship, but that is the game that holds the most sway in what direction the CFP will go on Sunday with their voting, because basically with Michigan and Cincinnati is lose and you're out. With Georgia, Alabama, if Alabama wins, Alabama's in, but Georgia's more than likely still in, and that's like 99, 96, 97% right there.
I would be floored, and I'd be absolutely surprised if they knock us out after one loss to Alabama.
And if Bama loses, more than likely they're out, because that will give them a second loss. But even at that, it would be the number 2 team losing to the number 1 team. Do you see where I'm going with this here? Which is why, again, the practical side of my brain was like, watch some shiggity happen. And it sure did. It's like the number 2 team in the country wins their division, makes it to the conference championships, loses to the number 1 team in the nation in a tight one. How can we keep them out? Real simple, just like this. Bye. You got the, the only way that I see Oklahoma State or Notre Dame not getting in if Cincinnati and Michigan fall is if Oklahoma State loses to Baylor and Notre Dame doesn't play. So Notre Dame doesn't have a game. But if Oklahoma State loses to Baylor and everything else washes like we think it does, like we think it will, because I think Cincinnati's going to win. I think Michigan is going to win. I think Oklahoma State is going to win. If it washes like we think it does and Georgia manages to wipe out Alabama, there will only be 1 slot, and that will go to Oklahoma State. Now, speaking of Notre Dame, dude, how jacked do you think those guys feel right now? Their coach just left. I didn't know until today that he wasn't even sticking around to coach the game. Like, he left.
No, he was going on. I mean, like, I think everybody, like, he sent him a letter or an email or something to what I saw.
He sent a text message saying, "Hey guys, sorry you had to find this out this way."
Was it a text? It was a very long text message. I mean,
it was a long text message, and then they allowed him to come back in and speak with the players on.
But from what I read, it was really, 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 really short. Like, if it was like he allowed them to come in, they allowed him to come in and see his players.
Yeah, they allowed him to come in and see the players and dap.
I mean, as a player, how would you feel? I'd be like, boy, you better get on.
You know what? To be completely honest, I would feel a little betrayed. I have to think with the mind of somebody who's 18 to 21 versus somebody who's 51 going, hell, I'm looking to retire. I'm 60. I'm looking to retire soon. And they're going to give me $100 million. They're going to give me $100 million. But as an 18 to 21-year-old, I'd be like, you know what, coach? Nah, I'm not feeling it right now.
Save it. Be like, save it. Go ahead and do your thing.
I mean, he had guys that were out doing recruiting that night when the one guy said he was out doing the recruiting. He had just walked out the door of a recruit's house when the news broke. Like he just said, "All right, man, I'll get back with you tomorrow. Yes, very nice meeting you, Miss Johnson. Appreciate y'all. Looking forward to having you at Notre Dame. Y'all take care." Got in his car. Did it.
Sorry, guys.
What the hell? You know
But
what
you
I'm
think?
saying?
I mean, that's just unbelievable. That if that's the way, we don't know the real, we don't know the whole story. Obviously, we'll never know the whole situation, but we know a lot of bits and pieces of everything. But I mean, that story you just said, if he just got a recruitment's house, and then fed him all that line of BS, you want to call it whatever, and then just knew what he was doing ahead of time, or knew him right then when he was talking to get him to come to the university, and then boom, book out. I mean, that's
Right.
that's the lowest of the low, dude. I mean, that's
Because
just I don't get it.
Because not only that, the guy that was trying to recruit the kid, his job might even be there. You know what I'm saying? Although they did promote someone from within, so I think he's going to keep most of the coaching staff intact.
Do you think Freeman's going to be the coach? They're going to hire him as a full-time coach, or is he an interim coach, or is he a full-time?
I don't
coach?
know. I thought they gave him. I'll have to go back and look because stuff's been coming so hot and heavy. And now you have this trend of people making up the fake stories, like literally with the sports and stuff. So I don't know what's what. I'll have to wait and see how it all shakes out. I thought I saw that he was going to be offered the head coach position. So if he does wind up being the permanent head coach, then of course he'll more than likely keep the rest of the coaches and recruiting staff intact. But I mean, here I am at 20 years old, 21 years old, 22 years old, on the verge of an opportunity to play still for a national championship. And the coach just says, "All right, fellas, it's been real. I'm out. Good luck."
And Sean says deuces. So, yeah, I mean, that's just you'd have, I don't know, me as a player, I don't know how I would react, but I would feel like I'd react in some ways like, you need to leave now. I think a lot of players probably had that mentality like, dude, you need to go. You need to get out that door right now. I mean, just keep doing what you're doing. We don't need to just save it. But then, I mean, then you got to look at the relationship Brian Kelly had with his players, like individual players. Each player, you have kind of a different kind of relationship with. So what do you tell them if you tell them anything, or you just cut a clean break and just say, hey, they'll get over it. Which I would hate to be the case.
I think that probably would have to be the case, though, man. You know what I'm saying? Because he's got this new program. He's immediately got to go down there and start rebuilding because, Coach O has done. Oh, man, did you see Coach O hugging the guys while they were singing the alma mater after the game and getting a little choked up?
No, I missed that.
Great job, guys. Hey, let's sing us a song, fellas. Let's sing us a song. And then they did the alma mater, and he was starting to get choked up because he realized it was going to be the last time he was going to run through that tunnel. I mean, say what you want to say. He had his proclivities, but man, I don't think LSU is going to see a personality of the likes of Ed Ogeron as a head coach.
Well, what do you think the likelihood of him going to Oklahoma? Wouldn't that be something?
God, well, hey, that would at least close the circle because I don't think it's any more vacant head coaching jobs right now. Oh, except for UVA's head coach stepped down today.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah.
Hey, look, I can't say for real how I would react, but I tell you what, I could tell you how some of those recruits, maybe if he had gotten some of those guys from Tennessee, I'd tell you how they would react. Imagine him in the middle of the speech and he gets one of these.
Yeah. Exactly.
Thank you, Tennessee. Thank you, Tennessee fans, for giving us that because we've been able to laugh at that for the last 6 weeks. Appreciate it.
Oh, we forgot the greatest clip in the world. We haven't even. Oh
well, I mean, we haven't talked about it because we didn't get around to it yet. But Oregon has got their the Pac-12. Oregon has got their they've got their conference championship coming up this week against some team from some state out west. I forget what did they call them again? Hold on, let me ask our subject matter experts.
Did you say Utes?
Yeah, 2 Utes.
What is a Ute?
Yeah. So you know what? I don't know if Oregon will pull this off, and God bless them. And look, if Utah Utah, any Utah fans watching, very highly unlikely, but if you are watching, coach, I'm to the coach of the Utah Utes. If you guys win, I will continue to use this clip through up until you guys play your bowl game. Okay, so this is for the Utah Ute.
Did you say Utes?
Yeah, 2 Utes.
What is a Ute?
Let's go, guys. Let's get this job done so we can use this clip for another. I don't know. When do they start announcing the bowl games? Because I wanted to go through bowl lineups, but there's not a whole lot of them that are set right now.
Not right now. I got I'm watching SEC Network right now, but I've got.
Oh, you know what they're waiting on?
They've got the Georgia leaders this season. So I just wanted to throw this out here if you hadn't already mentioned this. But you got the mailman's got 1,985 yards pass yards. Zeus has got 691 rushing yards. Bowers has got 652 receiving yards. Channing Tindall has 57 tackles. And hold on, what happened? Why are you gonna do this? All right. And the Kobe Dean's got 5 sacks. Adam Anderson's got 5 sacks.
Okay.
So I don't. That goes to Adam Anderson. What's going to happen with him?
I don't know. I don't know, man. Let's just hope that everything. Let's hope for the best. Let's hope that everything went just like he said it did, and nothing happened. Right. Along the nature of what his accuser said.
Right.
Just for both parties involved.
Absolutely.
If it did turn out to be how she said, then of course, he's going to have to face the music on that one. But I think even if it shakes out that he was telling the truth, I don't see him coming back to the program
at all.
I don't. How could you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean,
I tell you, what though,
in this world climate, I mean, I can kind of agree with her.
But you know what? To be completely honest, though, I take that back. I think if any fan base would welcome him back with open arms, it would be the UGA fan base. But he still would have a hard time getting picked up just because of that following him. I mean,
in today's climate, you're guilty until proven innocent, and instead of the way it should be, and in most cases, I'm not saying all cases, but I mean, in the court of public opinion, you are absolutely guilty instead of until proven innocent.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now don't, for those of you watching, don't take this to say that we are vilifying his accuser.
No,
absolutely not. We are absolutely not.
No,
it is just that from if it turns out, now here's my hypothetical. We know alcohol was involved. Let's just say it was thought at that point that is what happened, and it turned out that is not what happened, and he's cleared on all charges. I still see I mean, dude, Michael Vick.
I agree with
you. Michael Vick got out, and we know Mike Vick did it because he admitted to having the whole operation, but
sure.
He's still vilified. Ray Rice, and then that was Michael Vick was one of the first dominoes. Hold on, that was the first domino, and now then Ray Rice, he was just saying, "Hey, diddle diddle, Ray Rice up the middle" because he ran a game-winning touchdown a couple of weeks before, and then the tapes came out, and Ray Rice has not been back in the league.
Ray Lewis.
Gone are the days when stuff happened and you didn't even hear about it till after the players retired, like the thing with Mike Irvin in the barbershop with the rookie. Those days are long gone.
Yeah, and everybody's got a cell phone video now, so I mean, you never know what's going to come. Everybody's all real quick, trigger happy on the telephone. So, but no, to your point, I did not mean to sound. I hope I didn't mean to sound that way. Absolutely not.
I didn't know. I didn't take it that way.
Everything needs to come out on the table.
Yeah, but we had to make sure that we clarify because we don't want anybody saying that we're he's the dog, and we're dog fans, so he's got to be not guilty. That is absolutely not what we're saying.
I don't care what football player for team you play for. You did it. You deserve. If you did it, you deserve to get what you get.
Yes. Now but the thing about that is that it's going to be sad for him because this is something he's devoted his life to doing. Is even if it turns out that he was telling the truth all along and he's cleared of all charges, I don't see him making it in the league because that will be somebody will go back to that because
It'll be tough.
people are quick to pull up and research stuff. People will
Oh
go
my
back
God,
to
yeah.
that. Somebody will bring it up, and then it will be along the lines of, I mean, even let's go back as far as Ben Roethlisberger. For a long time, women were like, "Oh, Ben Roethlisberger, blah
Now,
blah blah blah."
let me
And
stop. Let me stop you. Did you know? Did I tell you that happened in my cousin's bar in Millersville, Georgia?
I remember that it happened in Georgia.
So Millersville, that's where Georgia College, where I went to college at, and my cousin's got a bar there. And that happened there because I was sitting at home and I was living in Centerville at the time. And I was sitting there. I think I might have just gotten home from Ned's when you were doing a karaoke show at Ned Devine's over in Centerville got there, was sitting in my recliner there, and I saw it go across the ticker. Ben Roethlisberger, Millersville, Georgia. Da, 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 da. I said, "You got to be kidding me!"
Right.
Yeah, that was my cousin's bar. So and for the longest time there, after that happened, he said that there was TMZ, all this kind of stuff was around there, and whatever. Never really got the whole scoop. I mean, I don't think anybody ever will, but at the same point, I wasn't trying to go too deep in that. But that was just kind of crazy how something like that happened in a place that I knew that I went to school at. So it was kind of surreal. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's just it's just one of those things where things won't just go away anymore. They won't just go away like, oh, well,
especially not with Twitter and the social networking and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and those things have been around, but now that people have realized the power that wields,
isn't that crazy how much power that does wield though? I mean, that is insane. You can get somebody like Dunzo real fast.
Oh yeah. So
just for a stupid comment, which I mean, you learn. But anyway,
yeah. So I forgot where we were going with this. You were talking about.
I don't know. We went off the rails somewhere.
You were talking about the game leaders and things like that, the team leaders and things of that nature. But we are wishing the dogs to every member of the dog squad, the coaching staff, safe travels to Atlanta, even though it's not that far from Athens. Safe travels. Hope you guys go out there and kick some ass for the rest of the Bulldog Nation that's been waiting for this moment since time clicked down to triple zeros back in sometime 41 years ago. We won't say that number out loud because we're within 48 hours of the game. That we've been waiting for this moment for quite some time. So go out there and make everybody, as Larry Munson would say, justifiably proud. And we want to wish you well with two simple words that exemplify the spirit of the entire Bulldog Nation. Go Dogs. So Dogs take on Bama this weekend in the SEC Championship, y'all.
Hey, brother, I tell you what, you will probably hear me all the way in Oklahoma. You'll probably hear me hooping and hollering. I guarantee you'll hear me because I will be screaming. Trust me.
You remember the video from 4 years ago when we won the Rose Bowl? And I was yelling. I was like, "How about them dogs? How about them dogs?" And I was like, "Ooh, I'm sorry, neighbors. How about them dogs?"
Oh yeah. No, I know that one. Was it that one or?
Yeah, it was it was the Rose Bowl.
It was a different game with me, and it was when Brady was a little younger. Like he was a little taller. I can't remember what game it was, but I scared him, and I felt so bad after I scared him. I jumped up. It was like, oh no, it was a Super Bowl. It was in Atlanta in the Super Bowl. And we intercepted on the 3 or the 4 yard line, and we ran it all the way back like the first quarter. That was the first quarter of the game. Mm-hmm. And my little son, little Brady, was there. He was just z'ing it up. He was having a good old nap, and I jumped up, screamed. I scared him, and Daddy. And I was like, "I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Go ahead to sleep."
I'm sorry, Bubba.
But he understands. He understands the red and the black that I bleed right now. I mean, he understands.
Yeah, and, absolutely.
So,
well, I don't really have anything further, sir. I know that we've had a good long talk about this. I think this is the first show where we've managed to just talk about one team the whole show. We do promise we will get back into that's what I was going to talk about. We will talk more about the remainder of the SEC as the bowl seedings are announced. It just dawned on me why they haven't done that yet, because they're waiting on the conference championships to take place this weekend and the seeding and the CFP to see who's available to go to the bowl games. So, having said all of that, we'll get back to SEC talk next week. And we did do SEC talk this week just because, it's the dogs. But we'll go back around the horn next week and see what we think about how everybody except Vanderbilt is going to do in the bowl games. And I do that.
I think we pretty much we talked a whole lot on Monday, so we kind of exhausted a lot of the things that we kind of devoted, and I'm glad we did, to a lot of the Georgia stuff.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about next week? Why don't we do this? Why don't we just hold everything until next Thursday, so that way we don't talk ourselves? So, because after all the championships are done, there's even less games to talk about, except for the bowl seedings. We'll have the championship seedings to talk, because they're not going to, because we're going to talk on Monday, but the playoff seedings aren't until Tuesday. So let's wait until the games are done, the seedings are done, and then we'll get back together next Thursday. So, ladies and gentlemen, we won't be back on until next Thursday, just because we want to wait and see how everything shakes out, who wins, who loses, who's going to be way too happy, and who's going to be way too sad. That's what it's going to boil down to. Somebody's going to be way too happy. Somebody's going to be way too sad.
Very true.
So
and you want to see who shows up. So we'll see that.
Who will show up and show out, and who will shrink back? We'll find out this Saturday. Anyway, that's going to do it for this week's episode of This Week in SEC Football. On behalf of myself, Mr. Fingaz from Zagnif Central, my brother from another, Collin P., we appreciate y'all for tuning in. Thank you so very much. Don't forget to go over to the website that I told you about and get yourself one of these beautiful This Week in SEC t-shirts. Got my face on it, got Collin's face on it. I was kind of mad because I had designed it, and what I did was I took Collin's face and put it on Mark Richt's body, and it had a hairy dog on one side and Uga on the other. And then I was like, oh, those are trademarked items that I can't use for profit. So I had to chop them out. So it just looks like,
it looks like I got a bigger head than I usually do. I didn't realize my head was that big, but
well, the next ones that we make, we're gonna get some nice body shot, because every picture of you, bro, I tried to do it.
Well, the body, don't get me wrong. I like Rick's body. Rick's body is a lot better than mine. I mean, the head's just a little bit too big.
I'm just saying, all I'm saying is I tried to do a Facebook grab because I didn't want you to be at work and be like trying to get a, like, I wanted you in UGA gear, because you normally have some on everywhere you go. And I wanted to get like a good torso to head picture, but every picture of you was like leaning over somebody or hugged on somebody. So I either had to cut off your arm, or you got no arms, or you just look like a armless dude laying on top of somebody because of the way the picture would be cut. And I was like, let me just grab his face. Let me just grab his face and throw it on Mark Richt's body. Let me just call it a day.
Just grab a screen grab right now.
The only problem with doing a screen grab now is because we're doing a video and it's not in 4K. It's not in 4K. By the time I crop it and go to put it, like, it'll be pixelated. I tried that. That was the first thing I tried to do.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So we're gonna have to get a good quality picture of you, like in some Georgia gear. Like maybe hit me with one on Saturday. Get B-Man to take a picture of you in your gear. Like, let's go. You know what I'm saying? And then that'll be the next shirt. Anyway, y'all,
I got you covered.
Anyway, y'all, we will see you next Thursday. Until then, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and oh, by the way, go Dogs.
Go Dogs, baby.